Hey guys, my name's Katharyne Shelton, and I wanted to make a quick video to talk about how I've been making art mashups using this app on the iPhone that's called Enlight. It also works on the iPad as well, and it's just a really cool app, really fun to use and really quick. I used it to make this picture that you're looking at now. Obviously I didn't paint it. That was a guy called Edgar Degas. He painted the original picture, which I guess looked something like, let me find it for you. That, as I'm sure you well know, I mashed it up with a picture of an equalizer. It took me maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Really didn't take me a long time to make, and I ended up with a cool t-shirt that my daughter Autumn is wearing there, and she wore that to her ballet class and super impressed all her friends. And you too can make cool shirts that impress all your friends using this app, using Enlight. And I'm going to show you how I did it and give you an idea of some of the other things that are possible with this app. So it costs about $3.99 from the App Store. As far as I know, it's not available on Android yet, and I don't think you can use it with a PC. It's just available on iOS at the moment. But hopefully it'll be so popular and awesome that they might roll it out on lots of platforms, but for now this is an iPhone thing. So let's watch and see how I did it. So before we start, I'm going to show you a few more pictures that I've done using Enlight, just to give you a feel of what's possible. Pretty much I've done them all in the same way, by mashing up two images. And what I've done is found a fine art picture that's public domain, royalty free. You can go to Wikipedia for these. Just make sure you always download the original or the largest image, just so you get the best quality you can, and make sure the picture you want to use is indeed in the public domain. If it's pre-1923, like the Mona Lisa or Van Gogh, you are golden. You can use that. I tend to mash up a modern, royalty-free picture with fine art. I just kind of like the aesthetic of it, and I think it's kind of fun to do that. So this is another picture I did. This was the Sistine Madonna, and that's the original painting, which is very beautiful. And I kind of gave it this cyberpunky George Orwell kind of feel, merging her into a concert. And I kind of love this guy in the background who's just kind of staring there. And I think that just gave it a really interesting feel. I did a quick mashup with the Mona Lisa. I put her into New York. So it was just that picture and that one together. And you can do really fun things with this as well. Like I got this picture of a pug, and there we go. I mashed it up with this galaxy picture that I found on Pixabay for free, and ended up with something like that, which I thought was really cute. And you can go on and on with this, just doing really cool things. Similarly, I took a cat and I put the cat in space. Whoa, it's so epic. This was one I did for fun. I did Pinkie Pie in Starry Night. I don't recommend you do this, or at least if you do this, just do it for fun. Don't sell it, because Pinkie Pie is, of course, copyright. But those are kind of a few examples of things I've done. I love this. This was just a fun one I did. I just thought, what would happen if Vincent took a trip to Las Vegas, and there he is. So I'm going to show you very quickly how I put together the Degas picture. So first of all, I went to Wikipedia and I found the best quality picture by Degas that I could. This was the highest resolution. So what you're really looking for is you look for those pixel sizes. You look for where it says download image, and you find the original image or the largest you can find. So I found this one on Wikipedia, and then I wanted another image. So I went to Pixabay. I'll show you Pixabay really quickly. I went to Pixabay and I typed in equalizer, and I really like this image here. I picked this one out. So you click it, and you'll see here you can do download, free download, And again, where I keep talking about download the original picture, you can totally do that here. You can get that original image, and that's the largest size. So that's what I did. I downloaded that from Pixabay. Pixabay is royalty free. All the images in Pixabay should be good for you to use in your graphics, even if you're going to sell them. But always double check. Sometimes copyright material does slip in, so always double check. Sometimes you might want to do a reverse image search with Google. That's pretty easy to do. You just drag and drop the image into Google to check it out where it came from. But generally, you can trust Pixabay to have royalty-free images that you can use for your projects. And as I say, I tend to mash them up with fine art images that are definitely in the public domain, just because they've been around for a really long time. So I took this image. Actually, I'm going to start the other way around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my equalizer picture. And there it is. It's right there. I keep an album on my phone called Enlight. So I have all my pictures along the bottom. And what I like to do is find, I tend to go on a sort of expedition to look for fine art that catches my eye, and I'll just grab a load of those pictures. And I find things that work well are pictures that have a strong character or figure in them. I mean, Venus, I took Venus there, and I think there's a picture somewhere where I put her in a cup of coffee. The Mona Lisa, like, you can take all these sort of strong images, and I find those images with a figure or with a character work really, really well. And I also go to Pixabay and I download anything that I think would be a cool backdrop. Like, I think the galaxy picture makes a cool backdrop. Starry Night makes a stunning backdrop. Like anything that's kind of stands out. The fairground, Las Vegas, these candy hearts I liked, pumpkins, bubbles, piano. Like, I just tend to collect images that I think are kind of striking. And you should be thinking of two types of images: foreground and background. So for this image, the equalizer is the background. So I'm going to put that one in there first. And now what I'm going to do is find my Degas image, and I open up the menu. And what I'm going to do is click Tools and then Mixer. And I think you're going to be kind of surprised by how simple and straightforward this actually is. Okay, so what you're going to need is a background and a foreground. And I, first of all, set the equalizer. I put the equalizer in first as my background. I'm just going to drag that out a bit, make it a little bit bigger. And then we're going to add in the foreground to this image. So what you do is you go to the menu and you hit Tools. There it is, and Mixer. So I'm going to select Mixer, and then you have to select the image that you're going to mix into this. So really what we're doing is finding the foreground. So the foreground is going to be this, the Degas picture. What we do is we drag it just to make it the size that really goes well with the background. So I think that looks cool. Maybe I can make it a little bit bigger there to really bring out this front character. Okay, I think that looks good. And before you say yes, you're done, what you're going to do is go to Tools, and this is the way I do it. I just hit Erase, and I start just rubbing out the areas that I don't really want in the picture. So I think for this, I'm going to take this girl out here, and you can see how simple it is. I'm literally just carefully, whoops, I've taken a little bit too much out there maybe. You literally just rub out the areas you don't want. And I might leave these girls in here. And you can zoom in on it a bit there to make it easier to just sort of erase the areas you don't want in the picture. And I'm going to take out this little bit here. And it's a little bit of a fiddly process. There's a bit of, I might rush it a little bit just to show you guys how I'm doing it. Kind of straightforward. And it does most of the work for you, as you'll see there. And if you don't get it super straight and super beautiful, it doesn't matter too much. We can do some cropping and some post-editing. I think, let's zoom in on this. Yeah, we've still got a bit of background going on there. And we're just going to rub that out a little bit more. Okay, it's looking pretty good. We're getting there. There we go. Oh no, I just wiped their heads out. The good thing is you can actually just use add to add bits back in. If you erase too much, you can just go ahead and use the add tool there to like add it back in, which is great. Trying to get that out. There we go. Bye-bye leg. So we are going to use some filters on this, so it'll blur it a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I think this looks pretty good. Oh, we lost a bit of her dress there. You can also up the strength of the image to make it a bit less transparent. So there we go. I have to put her dress back there. So you kind of get the gist of it. And now what we do is we say, great, we're done with that. And we can do a crop by going to canvas, and you crop the image like that. Super simple, like pretty much any other art app that you might use. And we say okay to that. And cool, there we go. I mean, that's pretty much an image right there. It's a little bit messy. So what I'm going to do, you can use these cool filters. So I tend to like the analog. You can go and really play with this to give it sort of different types of color and see which one suits you. And you can make it more intense, less intense, what works for your image. That looks kind of cool. I like that. Relic, it's a little bit dark, a little bit fuzzy. There we go. We'll go with this. Perhaps that one. Outlast. We don't want it to lose too much of the vibrancy. I like that. That's pretty cool. And I kind of like this little bit down in the bottom. So I'm going to say yes to that. We like that image. And you can kind of go on with this. You can do some really clever stuff, like you can make a vignette so it really focuses in on her. And vignettes are actually a great idea because they tend to make the edge of the image fuzzy. So it merges in really well if you're turning this into a merch shirt. But yeah, you can do some really interesting sort of styling with this by moving the lighting around and just experimenting with different filters. You can also do things like turn it into a black and white image, which is pretty awesome, especially if you were working on something like a diary or a journal. You might even, if you're really clever with this, you might even be able to turn this into a coloring book if you get enough white space in your images. And then you can actually do this effect on it, which is really cool looking. You can do the duo, and this gives it new coloring with different colors. So you can do something kind of clever with this and add two colors to it, which this looks really neat actually. I like this. It really just put highlighting, shading in different places. And it's nice because you can choose the colors. So we can do something quite different with it. We can make that pink and that a lighter pink. Gives it a really different feel. It's kind of ugly. There we go. The green's kind of, I don't know. You can really just play with this for a long time. See what you think looks cool. I love this tool. I think it's such a fun thing to play with. And a nice way to come up with some really cool designs. You can also do things that are very crisp and clean. I put the poor old, I think that's, is that Venus or Aphrodite? I think that's Venus. And I dunked her in a cup of coffee. I literally found a picture of Venus. I put her in front of the Hollywood sign. Like you can take these great images and you can do so much with them. This is another thing I did with the Vitruvian Man. Like this was actually really simple to do. We just started again with some bubbles. I'm going to mix him back in, if we can find him. Where are you, Vitruvian Man? Actually, let's do a different one. Let's do the girl with the pearl earring. And we're going to put her in there. I haven't done this one before, so we'll see how this goes. Erase, here we go. And of course, I mean, you can take a bit more time than me. I'm kind of rushing this just to show you guys what I'm doing. I don't want to erase that. Whoops. There we go. So, I mean, you can leave it right at that, and that's your image. Like, that's a cool image on its own. You can start playing with the blends. So you have something like that where they're actually sort of standing out on the image, and you can sort of overlay things in there. like different effects you can get. Some of them don't work so well, some of them are pretty cool. I'm going to say okay to that, and I'm going to show you the artistic effects you can do, which are kind of neat. You can do painting and make everything look like a painting, which is pretty awesome. You can get some fun effects with this, different styles of painting. Another app I really like for doing effects like this is Prisma, and I've been using Prisma a lot lately as well. I'm also going to show you this, and I think this is so fun. You can give it these urban effects, and if you're doing t-shirts or even something like an album cover, you can get this really cool effect going with this. That makes it kind of look like graffiti. You might have seen I did this with the Scream and got something to really be quite outstanding with this. To really work, you need heavily contrasting colors. That tends to work the best. But you can really play with this and get some interesting effects. You can change the mask on this by actually going, here we go, backdrop. You can change the backdrop and put in like letters and give it this really kind of urban graffiti sort of feel that's really kind of cool for a t-shirt or a hoodie. I like the palm trees. It's kind of fun. I could see making skate shirts or something like that. There we go. Let's do something like that. I think that's pretty neat. And you can go on layering these effects and just doing neat stuff with it. You can also put text on here. You can do decals, text in here, which is kind of fun. I like this one. I'm gonna hold it down and just put in something like on fleek. I don't know what cool kids say these days. You go to tools, change the color there, and give it this kind of fun. It looks a little bit like a chalkboard when you do this. So I want to make it like lime green. There we go, something like that. You can actually use blending so that you can layer on a whole lot of different images, different styles, different designs all at the same time. So there we go. That's kind of the gist of how you make a mashup picture. Again, I do two things. I go and I find backdrops that I think are cool. I look for pictures that would make great backdrops, like the Hollywood sign, or like I got a kind of gritty motel, and I put these guys from some classic picture. I put them looking like they're sort of talking over the pool tables. So you get your backdrop. Something like this is perfect. You get your backdrop, and then you add your foreground to it and add a sort of feature to it. So just collect those backdrops. There you go. You can see what I did with a zebra picture. At the top's the original picture of the zebra, the candy, and I put the two together and got this kind of psychedelic. It's kind of 80s. I like it. And just mash those pictures up and have a lot of fun with it. And I'm sure you can come up with some really, really cool pictures and end up with a neat t-shirt like that. Okay, so the question is, how do we actually get this onto a t-shirt? So I'm gonna go and use a tool called Resize Image. Let's switch out to that. It's resizeimage.net, and I'm just viewing it in my browser in Safari. And what you're gonna need to do is, first of all, say upload an image. So I'm gonna go and find my picture. It should just be right there on my photo drive, which it is. Okay, cool. And we're going to upload that. And the reason we need to do this is because merch has really specific dimensions. Any image you upload to merch has to be 4,500 pixels by 5,400. And if it's too small on one side or it's too big, it's not going to accept it. And as you can see, we've just imported this image and the dimensions there are 2074 by 2304. So that's not going to work. We need to change this. So what we have to say is turn off keep aspect ratio. And that will let us type in the dimensions we need, which are 4,500 and 5,400. And what we want it to do is fill in the background with a solid color. So I'm going to ask it to make the background transparent. And what that will do is scale up the picture to fit into that frame, that 4,500 by 5,400 frame. It will scale up the image, but it won't change the proportion of the image. So it won't stretch it out. Instead, what it will do is fill in any blank space with a transparent fill. So hopefully it will go seamlessly onto a t-shirt with just transparent space around it. And it will be a little bit smaller than Amazon wants, but it should be fine. It should look cool on a black t-shirt. So we don't need to change anything else there. I'm going to save it as a PNG file, and I think we're done. So all we did here, we uploaded the image, we didn't crop it, we just resized it there to the dimensions that Amazon wants, that 4,500 by 5,400, and we said fill in the background with a transparent color. So those are the only changes we made there. Then we want it saved as a PNG file, and we're going to hit resize the image. Great, okay, so our image has been resized to the correct size. There you can see it there, 4,500 by 5,400. So we can just hit download the image, and hopefully it will save it for us as a cool picture that we can take that and put that onto one of our t-shirts. Cool, there's the t-shirt, so I'm just gonna save that. There we go. Now we're going to go to merch and see if it uploads okay. Okay, so here we are in merch. All we should need to do is hit upload, and we can go to the photo library, and we should see that last image we did, which was the resized image, and we're going to wait and see if it uploads successfully to merch. And awesome, there it is. And you can see what I mean there about the transparent space. It's just put gray space to match the shirt underneath where it doesn't quite meet those proportions. So it doesn't look great on a gray t-shirt. That's fine. We're going to move on and change that to a black t-shirt only, because I only actually want this design to be available in black. All right, so there we go. There is our image. I'm just going to switch that over to be black only, and it looks kind of cool. I like it. And that is the simplest way to get your image uploaded from Enlight to merch. If you want to play around with it a little bit more, what I suggest you do is take these images and actually upload them into Canva. From there, you can put in text, you can change them around, you can add more pictures, you can layer them, and you can do some really cool things with that. You can also shape the images to have them circular or to sort of fade them out around the edges. You can do a lot more with it. This is just the really straightforward way, direct from Enlight, using resize image. All right, good luck with it, guys. Hope you have a lot of fun. Make some cool shirts, or use this for whatever you like. You can also put these pictures on posters, canvas, on paperweights, ornaments, calendars, anything you can think of. This is a cool way of doing some neat art. Have fun.